Mario Kart 8 has to be the most milked game there has ever been. We've gone 9 years without an actual new mainline Mario Kart game. No, Tour doesn't count. Get that trash off my screen. In 2022, instead of making a new game, Nintendo gave us a DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that would give us 6 waves of 48 new tracks until the end of 2023. Now that all 6 waves have been released, it's time to take a look at all of them and see if this DLC was actually worth it. Not necessarily for the customer, because I'm pretty sure that all of you are responsible enough to decide if something's worth your money, yes or no. But more for Nintendo themselves. Was the money, time and energy spent worth putting into this DLC? Or should they have focused on, I don't know, a new game maybe? Well, let's find out. It all started on March the 18th, when Wave 1 of the Booster Course Pass was released. The hype was unreal because after years of basically nothing, we got 8 new courses and 40 more to look forward to. The first wave gave us an excellent indication of what to expect from the whole expansion. A bunch of rubbish. Okay, it's not that bad of course, but it isn't that good either. We started off with the Golden Dash Cup, including Paris Promenade, Toad Circuit, Choco Mountain and Coconut Mall. We also got the Lucky Cat Cup, including Tokyo Blur, Shroom Ridge, Sky Garden and Ninja Hideaway. It's a great start in terms of track selection, to be honest, including one of the most beloved tracks in the entire series with Coconut Mall. But it's immediately evident that there's something off. Something doesn't feel right. The tracks just don't look good. It looks bland and there's little to no texture and detail on many of the tracks. And I can already hear the comments. Ew, you just go out of your way to pick out the negative. Or, it's a racing game, graphics don't matter. And for those who agree to these comments, L plus ratio. But in my experience, I didn't need to stop in the middle of the race to see that this is not up to standard. It's very clear to see how the characters and cars clearly have so much more texture and quality compared to the tracks, which makes it all look very odd. It's very concerning and I hope they put more effort into the other waves. I shouldn't forget to mention that yes, we have Coconut Mall, probably one of the most beloved tracks in the entire series, but they forgot a crucial detail. The cars at the final stage of every lap just stand there, they don't move. It neglects a lot of difficulty of this track and it's disappointing to see. Other than that, I have to say that I surprisingly like the tour tracks a lot. The city tracks in particular, they offer so much more depth with the changing courses depending on which lap you're in. And I always wanted Mario Kart tracks that represented countries in some sort of way. And I'm glad this happened in Mario Kart Tour of all places. But just like a lot of other tracks, it's obvious that these tracks originated in Mario Kart Tour and therefore lack quality for Mario Kart 8 standards. Oh wow, would you look at that? What a cool and unique trophy design. I wonder what kind of design they used for the other cups. Wave 2 introduced the Turner Cup, including New York Minute, Mario Circuit 3, Calamari Desert and Waluigi Pinball, and the Propeller Cup consisting of Sydney Sprint, Snowland, Mushroom Gorge, and as a pleasant surprise, we got Sky High Sunday as a brand new track. They said that this expansion would only include tracks from older games, so it's nice to see they actually put effort into making new stuff as well. And what's also nice to see is that they fixed the cars at the end of Coconut Mall. Yay! Anyway, onto this wave. We again got 2 city tracks. New York looks decent, but looks very flat and I miss some of the typical architectural designs commonly found in New York. Sydney on the other hand has to be my favorite city track so far. It actually looks quite good. Apart from this one section where the crowd is just flat, like they came straight out of Paper Mario. The worst part is, if you leave this section, the crowd are actually normal 3D models. Like what? Calamari Desert has improved from a design point of view. You actually drive on the rails, which is really cool. But regarding graphics, this track and Mario Circuit 3 don't show that much improvement. Compared to Base 8, these tracks look so dead and boring. On the other hand, Snowland and Waluigi Pinball are the closest we've got to Base 8 so far. They look stunning and especially Waluigi Pinball really lives up to the hype, which was visually already an amazing track. Mushroom Gorge is a fan favorite from Wii, and I like it as well, and I'm very glad to have it in this DLC. But it's not really a very special track other than it's a fan favorite from Wii. It's not a track where I say like, wow, this is amazing. But I'm really glad to have it since I really enjoyed it back in the day. Sky High Sunday is a difficult one. I don't really know what to think of it. It's obvious that this track was made with Mario Kart Tour in mind. A bit like all the other tracks that they just took from that game and called it a day. It's a colorful track, which I like, and it's refreshing to see some actual new stuff. Although there isn't really a reason for this track to be an anti-gravity, is it? What's also a bit weird to see are these handrails that give you a boost without any indication. In other tracks it's easy to spot what objects give you boost and what not. But I would never randomly drive into these things and expect a boost. Not only that, but when you drive into them, you don't even collide with them. You just drive through them. Overall, this wave isn't as lazy as wave 1, but there's much room for improvement. Now, Wave 3 presented us with the Rock Cup, including London Loop, Boo Lake, Rock Mountain and Maple Treeway. For the Moon Cup, they included Berlin Byways, Peach Gardens, Merry Mountain and Rainbow Road for Mario Kart 7. Again, 2 city tracks which at this point you know I love a ton. But it's the same as last time, where the buildings and surroundings look flat and unpolished. It's decent when they're afar, but when they're up close it looks like shit. For Berlin, this track is very confusing. I know I said I like the changing tracks and that this adds more uniqueness to the tracks, but in this case it's just a big mess and I feel like I've got no idea what I'm doing. As if they looked at the city map and drew some lines and were like, yeah, this seems about right. Boo Lake is decent. It got a cool underwater section which is pretty fun, although they could have added more scenery or something. The track itself looks pretty dead, which makes sense since this is a abandoned and haunted pier. Rock Mountain and Peach Gardens both are some of my favorite tracks in their respective games, but they've been butchered in this DLC. It looks horrendous and very low quality as if it came out on a GameCube. Look at these hexagon looking leaves and the green concrete that's supposed to be grass. Peach Gardens kinda saves itself by including a reverse lap and a new gliding section, but oh my god, this has to be one of my most disappointing moments of the DLC so far. Well, luckily we got Maple Treeway. I'm gonna be honest, this track felt more alive on the Wii. This counts for almost every track in this DLC though. But Maple Treeway is good, although they could have at least made the cannon shot better looking since that's the main thing of this track. Now that we got the negative stuff out of the way, onto the good stuff. Merry Mountain has to be, surprisingly, the best looking track so far. This track is a perfect example of how big of a difference texturing the object make. Look at the brick road or the rocks on the side. They aren't even that well detailed, but the texture makes them look so much better. And then we've got the cherry on top. Rainbow Road 3DS. My favorite Rainbow Road of them all. And they've treated this one very well. Don't get me wrong, I've had a blast so far with this DLC and the nostalgia I felt was immense. But this, the icing on the cake, the crux of the biscuit, Rainbow Road 3DS is a masterpiece. Genuinely a good track made better. Maybe this is the track where the lighting could have been better, but at this point I'm not even gonna complain. This wave overall is a good side as we can see clear improvements with each wave. Wave 4 gave us the Fruit Cup, including Amsterdam Drift, Riverside Park, DK Snowboard Cross and Yoshi's Island, while the Boomerang Cup gave us Bangkok Rush, Mario Circuit, Waluigi Stadium and Singapore Speedway. This wave also introduced us to a new character, Birdo. A surprise in my eyes since they said that this DLC would only include 48 new tracks. So to see that we've got a new character as well as 5 more to go is great. I mean, since they were just porting all the tracks from Tour to this game, why not port some characters from that game as well, since it has the biggest character roster in the entire series. Okay, onto the tracks. This time instead of 2, we got 3 city tracks, with one of them being and they've done us badly. Like, what the f is this? I thought tracks like Merry Mountain showed the texture in your surroundings looks so much better, but no, they didn't even bother with this track. I mean, I can't really blame them too much since the city itself looks like dog shit as well, but come on, what has happened to my beloved country? Bangkok Rush looks decent, a bit bland, but at least they've put more effort into it than Amsterdam Drift. Now, Singapore is incredible, definitely the best city track so far and maybe even of the whole DLC. This track has a good layout and great visuals. Imagine how incredible this track would look if this would have gotten the same attention to detail as Base 8. This would have been top 5 tracks of all time maybe. And it doesn't even stop there. Riverside Park is incredibly good as well. They've done a brilliant job converting this track to 3D. And the sky looks absolutely gorgeous as well. Plus the surroundings look also very good. It's definitely one of the better looking tracks of this whole DLC. Mario Circuit is kinda mid though, but it's an irrelevant track so I can't really be bothered. DK Snowboard Cross has to be one of my favorite tracks from Wii, but it's obvious that this track was copied and pasted from Tour. Although still fun, its visuals are not it. It has the same problem as Maple Treeway, where the main gimmick of the track is the cannon shot. This shot is pure visual, as you can't control your kart at that moment. So I would have loved at least a little bit more effort put into that cannon shot so that it looks somewhat decent. And then there is Waluigi Stadium. And oh my god, I couldn't believe what I saw. This track is incredibly amazing. The reflections on the mud, the crowd in the background, it just makes this track look so good and prove once again that texture and detail add so much more to these tracks. I loved the track on the Wii, but the Wii version looked like I shat over my chocolate cake. But this version looks so stunning and much more alive. A great upgrade compared to the original. It can be said for the majority of the tracks in this DLC, unfortunately. However, Yoshi's Island doesn't have this problem, since it's a brand new track. And in contrast to the other brand new tracks, this track wasn't made with Mario Kart Tour in mind. And it's fairly obvious, because it has better visuals, better layout, and it's just better overall. I really like this track and I really like the references to the games. You have your own Yoshi coins, there is this gliding section where if you hit the question mark cloud, a red road unlocks, just like in the Yoshi Island games. And whenever you finish the lap on this red road, you actually jump through the ring of flowers, just like you end a level in Yoshi's Island. I find this amazing and I really like this track. Definitely one of, if not my favorite from this whole DLC. Wave 5 included the Feather Cup with Athens Dash, Daisy Cruiser, Moonview Highway and Squeaky Clean Sprint. But also the Cherry Cup with Los Angeles Labs, Sunset Wilds, Koopa Cape and Vancouver Velocity. We also got Petey Piranha, Kamek and Wiggler as 3 new characters. Up until now, I believe that this wave has the best lineup of tracks in this DLC so far, with some of the most liked characters in this wave, starting off again with 3 city tracks. Athens is one of the most historical and culturally rich cities in the world. And to see stuff like this in an Athens-themed track is very disappointing and feels disrespectful. Other than that, the track itself can be a bit annoying. For some reason, this track has a lot of jumping parts, and in this game, it's really hard to move mid-air. So whenever I jump, I have to line up my kart in the perfect direction. Otherwise, I'll bounce into something and lose all of my momentum. For a game like Mario Kart 2, the game this track was designed for, it's no problem, because there you can easily maneuver yourself through the air. It already was fairly obvious from almost every track, but I think that this track really shows that they don't really redesign the track for Mario Kart 8 standards. Los Angeles Labs doesn't have this problem, but I just need to say why. Why would you put this ugly industrial oil extraction field in your track? What kind of shithole is Los Angeles to deserve this? Other than that, I think this track is really cool. And apart from the visuals, I don't really have complaints about this track. Vancouver Velocity is honestly one of the most forgettable tracks in this wave. The only thing I really remember was that the lighting is one of the best in this DLC. But that's about everything. Daisy Cruiser is good. But as much as I slander Mario Kart Tour for the reason that a lot of the tracks in this DLC look like shit, I gotta say that with Daisy Cruiser, instead of ripping the track from Tour, they just ripped it from the 3DS, which isn't any better. For a fan favorite like Daisy Cruiser, they really should be doing better. Koopa Cape has the exact same problem. It's the same as the 3DS version. I really hope they added the Wii version, where the tube isn't filled with water and only has a stream of water that makes you go faster while you're in it. This version also had electric spinning object to avoid, but unfortunately with the 3DS's gimmick of underwater races, this was completely removed, and it is as well in the DLC. It's sad because Koopa Cape is also a fan favorite. Moonview Highway is one of my all-time favorite tracks, and I believe that this is one of the better tracks in this wave. The lighting really does the most part in terms of visuals, but overall this track is just a lot of fun. And when you compare it to the Wii version, I don't think I can be too hard on this version. Squeaky Clean Sprint is a new track, and it's really cool. I've always been a fan of this shrunken down gimmick, especially because of Mario Party DS. It allows for a lot of creativity, and that's also evident in this track, where you drive between shampoo bottles, toothbrushes and various other day-to-day products. The layout of this track is one of my favorites as well. There's a big shortcut that continues even after completing a lap, which in my opinion is really cool. Unfortunately for this track, you got a straight competitor, Ribbon Road, another shrunken down track. But comparing the two, it's just sad to see the amount of extra detail, better texture and smoother models were already in a Wii U game. Alright, as you might have noticed, I haven't critiqued the graphics as much in this wave as I did with the others. That's because I saved everything for Sunset Wilds. First of all, something everyone noticed right off the bat was the sunset itself. In the original version, this sunset was supposed to turn night on the last lap. This was even in Tour, but this isn't present in the booster pack. And other than that, the track looks like shit. genuine I know that every wave has looking tracks, and for most of them I can look past it. But not in this wave, because every track looks like the absolute bare minimum. After all those waves where I saw progress in quality, mostly in terms of visuals, but now we're back to the basics, back to wave 1 and 2. It hurts because I saw the potential and progress in wave 4, and I was really looking forward to see how they improved in wave 5, but they've blown it away. So yeah, I'm pretty disappointed. The final wave of the DLC gave us the Acorn Cup, including Rome Avanti, DK Mountain, Daisy Circuit and Piranha Plant Cove, as well as the Spiny Cup with Madrid Drive, Rosalina Ice World, Bowser Castle 3 and last but definitely not least, Rainbow Road Wii. We also got 4 new characters. Yes, 4! I thought only 2 slots were remaining, but no, 4 more characters. This time it was Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Pauline and Peachette, as well as a bunch of Mii costumes for the 2 weirdos that actually play with their Miis, and the music player. Again, a nice surprise from Nintendo. Rome Avanti is really good, although the tracks feel messy with its many short and quick corners. The track is really cool and it looks nice as well. Madrid Drive is a fun track. It surprises me that it took me all the way to wave 6 to talk about the music, because for almost every track it has been amazing. But Madrid Drive has to be my favorite. I'm a fan of flamenco music in general, so to see a flare of that in Mario Kart brings a smile to my face. But the track itself is good as well. I like the part where you drive through Plaza Major next to the Wiggler. DK Mountain is just DK Mountain. Not really much to mess up here. Not the best graphics, but it's DK Mountain, so who cares? Daisy Circuit is just like DK Mountain, a fan favorite from Wii, and just like DK Mountain lacks the quality in graphics. But again, who cares? They're here and they're here to stay. Piranha Plant Cove is really good. It ironically only lacks piranha plants. They're only in a section of the track and that's it. But the lighting and graphics look splendid. Yes, there's always room for improvement, but I think this is the best tour track adaptation in this DLC. Rosalina's Ice World was good on the 3DS, but not in the DLC. I feel like they toned the colors down, and the ice half-pipes are very annoying with the camera angles. They did not do this track justice. Bowser Castle 3 on the other hand is an amazing track. One of the most enjoyable in the booster pack and one of the best looking tracks as well. Visually this track is amazing, and also when it comes to layout it looks incredible. I feel like this track is easily overlooked, but it's definitely one of the best courses in the DLC, and maybe even of the whole game. But then, the perfect finale. Rainbow Road Wii. After 15 years, I still suck at this track. This track brought back so many memories from Wii. The track itself, the amazing visuals with the glitter effect on the rainbow, and the nostalgic remix easily makes this the best Rainbow Road in the game. After all the tracks and after critiquing so much, especially on the graphics, I'm so glad to end this on a positive note. I finally feel like one of my favorite tracks has been served justice. So, that's it. That's the whole booster course pass for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. My conclusion for the booster pack is very clear. Mario Kart 8 has to be one of my favorite Mario Kart titles, and to be able to play more of it is only a good thing. Overall, the track selection for this DLC was phenomenal. They balanced it so well with some absolute classics and some generally more boring tracks. As a massive Wii fan, I can't complain. However, I would have loved some more DS representation. Unfortunately, I can't ignore the sheer lack of quality in the DLC. And as you might have guessed from my remarks, this has mostly to do with the graphics. They are just not up to standard. They look unpolished and very bland. Not everything, of course. I've mentioned the fact that the lighting in this DLC and some tracks look absolutely amazing, but the actual models and texturing of most of the courses are just not up to standard of that of a Wii U game released in 2014. I would be okay if this DLC was its own game and this was just an R-style direction they went for. But it's not. We have a main game to compare it to, and in terms of graphics it just doesn't look good. And then again, to mention that the main game was released back in 2014 on a far worse console graphics wise. I don't want to say that the booster pack is bad, because it's definitely not, but I think they should be doing better because I know they can do better and I want them to do better. It's disappointing how they treat their best-selling game on their best-selling console. Anyway, I don't want to end this video negatively, because there's no reason to. The fact that I'm so harsh on the graphics and point out a lot of the negative stuff doesn't mean that I don't enjoy my Mario Kart. And that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it as well. Like, I'm not trying to be toxic, of course. I just want a billion-dollar company to put in the work, especially for their most profitable game at the moment. So, to answer the question, was the DLC worth it? For me, yes. Especially since there were like 8 new characters and a lot of other things added that I initially didn't pay for. Was it worth it for you? That's only a question you can answer, so let me know in the comments with your thoughts and opinions. But most importantly, was the money, energy and time spent worth putting into the booster pack for Nintendo? I mean, it probably was, since they made a lot of profit from it. But in my point of view, I would have rather seen the efforts put into a new game and not a DLC. Because I've been waiting so incredibly long for a new mainline game. So my final question is, Nintendo, where is my new Mario Kart?